the Spanish Armada, a turning point in naval history. Welcome to this captivating exploration of one of history's most defining naval confrontations, the Spanish Armada of 1588. This iconic clash between Spain and England not only shaped the political and religious landscape of Europe, but also marked the rise of English naval dominance, leaving a long-lasting footprint on global history. Let's dive into the remarkable events that unfolded and analyze the key factors and consequences of this watershed moment. The Spanish Armada did not emerge in isolation. It was rooted in deep-seated tensions between two powerful monarchies and their competing visions for Europe. During the 16th century, Europe was marked by division between Catholicism and Protestantism. Spain's King Philip II, a staunch Catholic, viewed Protestant England under Queen Elizabeth I as a rebellious force that threatened both his kingdom's religious unity and his authority. Philip II had additional grievances. Elizabeth I supported Protestant rebels in the Spanish-controlled Netherlands, weakening Spain's grip on its territories. English privateers, often sanctioned by Elizabeth, consistently raided Spanish treasure ships returning from the Americas, further enraging Philip. Driven by a mix of religious, political, and economic motives, Philip devised an ambitious plan to dethrone Elizabeth and restore Catholic rule in England. The Invincible Armada, as it was called, represented Philip's dream of retaking England. His strategy was bold. Spain would mobilize a massive naval fleet of over 130 ships, carrying more than 30,000 soldiers and seamen. The plan was to rendezvous with the Duke of Parma's army stationed in the Spanish Netherlands, creating an overwhelming force to launch an invasion of England. However, the logistics were daunting. The Armada's assembly strained Spain's finances, requiring vast resources and coordination across its empire. Despite these challenges, the fleet boasted heavily armed galleons and a reputation in Europe for being unmatched in naval might. While Spain relied on its massive galleons suited for close combat and heavy artillery, England adopted a different approach. English warships were lighter, faster, and highly maneuverable. English naval commanders, including Sir Francis Drake and Lord Charles Howard, recognized these advantages and leaned into innovative tactics. Rather than face Spain in rigid naval formations, they employed hit-and-run strategies to wear down the Armada. Moreover, England's weaponry was designed to strike from longer distances, giving their fleet an edge over the slower, more cumbersome Spanish ships. These technological and tactical differences would prove decisive in the confrontations that followed. In May 1588, the Spanish Armada set sail from Lisbon, signaling the beginning of the campaign. Yet, even before encountering the English Navy, the fleet faced significant challenges. Stormy weather delayed their progress and caused damage to several ships. This was an ominous start to what Philip II hoped would be a triumphant campaign. England, well aware of Spain's intentions, prepared for the inevitable invasion. Queen Elizabeth I rallied her people with passionate speeches, most famously her address at Tilbury, where she declared, "I have the heart and stomach of a king, and a king of England too." This speech not only united her people, but also solidified her as a powerful symbol of resilience. Meanwhile, English naval commanders worked tirelessly to organize their defenses. Fire ships, wooden vessels set ablaze and sent drifting toward enemy fleets, were prepared to disrupt the Armada's formations. Sentries and spies kept watch along the coast, ensuring England would not be caught unawares. One underrated aspect of England's preparation was its intelligence network. Spies on the continent, including Elizabeth's famous spy master, Sir Francis Walsingham, provided early warnings of the Armada's movements. This allowed England to anticipate Spain's approach and align their defenses accordingly. When the Spanish Armada finally arrived in the English Channel in late July, it was met by England's prepared fleet. Early skirmishes demonstrated the clear difference in tactics. While Spain struggled to maintain its cumbersome crescent formation, English ships darted in and out, inflicting damage with their long-range artillery. The English Navy harassed the Armada along its journey up the Channel, denying it a chance to regroup or launch counterattacks. the Battle of Plymouth was one of the first significant encounters where England proved its ability to outmaneuver the Spanish. The pivotal moment of the campaign came at the Battle of Gravelines. By this point, the Spanish Armada had anchored off the coast of France, waiting to connect with Parma's forces. The English seized the opportunity to launch a daring nighttime attack using fire ships. These flaming vessels sailed into the Spanish formation, causing panic and chaos. As the Spanish ships scattered, the English fleet closed in, delivering devastating blows. The ensuing battle saw heavy losses on the Spanish side as their artillery proved ineffective against the more agile English fleet. Gravelines solidified England's dominance in the Channel, forcing the Spanish Armada into retreat. One of the most remarkable factors in the Armada's defeat was the weather, an uncontrollable yet decisive force. Following the Battle of Gravelines, the Spanish fleet attempted to regroup and return to Spain. However, violent storms, referred to by the English as the Protestant wind, relentlessly battered the retreating ships. Many vessels were wrecked along the coasts of Scotland and Ireland, further decimating the Armada. The contrasting leadership styles of Philip II and Elizabeth I also played a significant role in the campaign. Philip, operating from Spain, had limited control over the events at sea, and his rigid instructions left little room for adaptation. Elizabeth, by contrast, remained actively involved, supporting her commanders and inspiring her forces with her presence and rhetoric. This adaptability gave England a crucial advantage. The defeat of the Armada was catastrophic for Spain. Of the original 130 ships, fewer than half returned home, and many were in poor condition. The loss of lives, ships, and resources was devastating, tarnishing Spain's reputation as an invincible maritime power. Financially, the defeat further strained Spain, hastening the decline of its golden age. For England, the victory was transformative. It not only secured Elizabeth's throne, but also bolstered national pride and the Protestant cause. England's growing confidence as a naval power laid the foundation for its future maritime empire. The victory signaled the beginning of a new era in which England would eventually dominate the seas. The events of 1588 showcased England's ability to innovate and adapt. The lessons learned during the campaign, such as the importance of mobility, firepower, and coordination, would define English naval strategy in the centuries to come. This rise in power culminated in England's dominance during the Age of Exploration and colonial expansion. The victory over the Armada was imbued with religious significance. Many English Protestants interpreted the storms and Spanish defeat as evidence of divine intervention, reinforcing the notion that God favored their nation. This religious narrative became a cornerstone of English identity in the years that followed. Culturally, the defeat was celebrated in art, literature, and propaganda. Paintings, poems, and sermons commemorated the triumph, embedding the event into the national consciousness. Elizabeth herself was immortalized as a symbol of defiance and victory. Economically, the Spanish Armada's failure disrupted trade routes and placed a heavy financial burden on Spain. For England, however, the victory provided stability, paving the way for economic growth. The newfound confidence also allowed England to pursue bold ventures, including the establishment of overseas colonies. Politically, the Armada's defeat shifted the balance of power in Europe. Spain's aura of invincibility was shattered, emboldening other nations to challenge its dominance. England's political alliances strengthened as Protestant nations rallied around the idea of resisting Catholic hegemony. While the Armada's defeat is celebrated as a decisive English victory, some historians argue that its significance has been exaggerated. Spain would remain a formidable power for several decades, and the failure of the Armada may have been as much a result of logistical errors and weather as English superiority. Others speculate on what might have happened had Spain succeeded. A Catholic England under Spanish rule would have drastically altered the course of European and global history, possibly delaying or even preventing England's rise as a colonial superpower. The Spanish Armada remains one of history's most compelling naval stories. It serves not only as a lesson in the complexities of warfare, but also as a reminder of the ever-shifting tides of power. The clash between Spain and England in 1588 set the stage for centuries of geopolitical rivalry, technological evolution, and cultural transformation. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 was much more than a military victory. It was a defining moment that reshaped the course of history. It marked the decline of Spain's golden age, the rise of England's naval supremacy, and the advent of a new era in European geopolitics. Through ingenuity, resilience, and perhaps even a stroke of luck from the weather, England emerged victorious, forever altering its fate and identity. History often hinges on such turning points, reminding us that even the most ambitious plans can falter before the unpredictable forces of innovation, nature, and human determination.